All right, here he is, the man of the hour. He is the subject of the Joe Schmo Show this season on TBS. You saw his season come to a dramatic conclusion last night. It is Ben Frisone. Ben, thanks for coming on, man.
Thank you for having me.
Wow. That was one hell of a journey. And before we get into anything, I want to say right off the bat, something that since I started watching the show has become a part of my life. Do you know how many times just randomly I have walked by my dog or just looked at my dog and said, "Yabuya he," just for no reason whatsoever? I mean, it is unreal. And I'll even do the sign, and the dog has no idea why I'm doing it, but my gosh, it's stuck in my head. Just curious, out of curiosity, once you got home, did it ever float in your mind at night? Did you ever say it to people?
No, not really, but it has become something of a greeting now. So
Yeah.
people do just say Shibuya ho.
Now, just out of curiosity, again, since the show has been airing, because obviously this was filmed a while ago, I believe, just based on the masks that were being worn by production. Now that it's airing and people have seen it, are people, if they see you out, are they saying it to you? Are you being recognized when you're out? How's it been?
I've yet to be recognized out and about. Yeah, but I mean, I do have some DMs. People send me messages on Instagram or Facebook, but no in-person interactions yet.
So nobody's stopped you and said, "Hey, you're the guy from the Joe Schmo Show." Nobody yet?
No.
All right. So let's get into it. And I was going to ask you. I mean, the people that have contacted you, I'll ask you this: what is the number one question you are being asked by people that maybe have reached out on DMs and stuff? What is the number one thing they've been asking you? Because I think it might be the same question that I have, but I'm curious.
I guess, there's one that's a blanket and it's just, what was it like? Like,
yeah,
that's like the generic one. But then honestly, second highest question is, want to go to dinner?
Oh, really? Yeah. Okay. So women are sliding into your DMs. Got it. Got it. So mine was more show related because I'm very interested in the aspect of this and kind of the whole behind the scenes and how it worked. Mine was there any point during the show, during this filming, where you really did think, man, something is off here? Like, maybe you didn't think like I'm having a whole show dedicated to me, but we did see that one challenge where you say, this isn't real, right? I'm being pranked when what's his face was throwing his shoes into the wood chipper.
Yep.
Was there outside of that moment? Because I don't even think in that moment you actually thought, hey, I'm having a show made about me. This is all fake. I think you just kind of said like, wait, what? This isn't real, right? Like, when was there any point during the show, like before the ending and you were told everything that went on, did you ever, like at night, just sitting around going, something's off about all of this?
That is definitely one of the, higher on the list asked questions.
Yeah.
But, I always say, I'm like, I felt like it was weird. I knew something was off. And there were moments where I was like, okay, this wasn't real. But then, the actors and the producers and everybody just keeps on keeping on. So then I'm left in this situation where I'm like, you're just on to the next one. It kind of passes your brain. And then at night, like you said, at night, I'm thinking all strategy. I mean, I was in it,
Yeah.
I was, I thought I was, the big strategy guy.
Yeah. You thought you were the GOAT. You thought you were the GOAT is what you thought. When I was watching it, I'm sitting here going like, I don't think that it's very hard to be like, oh, I know this whole show is fake and it's all being made surrounding me. Nobody would really begin to think that. You might question, what the hell is this? And is this show even real? But I don't think anybody would ever come to the conclusion that everybody around me is fake. So, but when it was going on, obviously you're developing real friendships, especially with someone like Maya, Natasha, her real name. But, it's going on and you're obviously wanting to compete and winning the game. How about once you were eliminated and you were sent to the loser's house? Were you thinking like, Well, I know your mindset was, I need to get back in and win this competition and get back in and try and win. But when you were eliminated, and before, as you were eliminated and sent to the loser's house, were you at a point where you're like, damn, this thing's over? I'm not going to win this thing. I totally thought I'm better than all these people, and I thought I'd win.
Yeah. So, it took the wind out of my sails for sure, losing, getting eliminated. But then they took me up, they showed me that video that there was a loser's loft, and I was like, oh, okay, I was kind of happy to get to see everybody again, get at least that social aspect.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then in the loser's loft, when they came back in and Kat was like, you're going to be competing in the challenge. I mean, it really did it like a wave came over me of anxiety. I'm like, oh man, now I'm back in this thing. I got to compete again.
I know people watching at home, since we all are watching the show knowing that there's a prank being played on you, and there's probably people sitting at home that are just like, man, how's he not catching on to this? He's sitting here talking to a goat every day while everyone else is, strategizing and being told what the script was for that day. But the goat stuff every day, having to film that, was there any part of you where there was just like, this is the weirdest game show I've ever seen, even though you hadn't seen it since it wasn't a real game show?
Right. So there were times I had told Maya and some of the other characters, I'm like, this whole goat thing in the morning, I think they're messing with me. Like, why do I have to, everybody else I thought at the time that everybody else had this carefree breakfast, you know what I mean? But I was the one guy that had to go down and take care of the goat with no reward, basically.
Yeah. No, it was just, sitting at home, we're just like, is this guy not picking up on it? But yeah, you wouldn't in the moment, because who would think that somebody would choose this? Now, obviously, that brings us back to the fact that, how old are you, Ben?
I'm 31.
You're 31. I'm significantly older than you, but I was a huge fan of the first 3 seasons of the Joe Schmo Show. I'm actually, I'm good friends with Ingrid from season 2, which happened to be my favorite season. I talked to her about it a lot in the past, and with you and you doing this show, clearly you probably never saw those shows. But I'll ask you, did you ever watch? Obviously, you've probably maybe gone back and watched now, but have you ever seen? You had never seen any of the Joe Schmo shows, the previous ones, right?
I had not seen any of the Joe Schmo shows. No.
What about?
I was a little bit too young.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's why I asked how old you were. So those were probably when you were like teens, I would think, 13, 14,
early
15.
Teens, very early teens.
Have you gone back and watched by any chance?
I did. I watched Matt Kennedy Gold season. Yeah. I just finished, a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
And season 2 seems like it's hard to find.
Yeah, it's only, you basically have to, I think you have to Google Joe Schmo Show season 2 on YouTube, and then it's like 10 different episodes that you're gonna have to watch on YouTube. But yeah, they're there. It's a really funny concept. It's all based on a fake dating show. You know how the Bachelor and Bachelorette, right. I'm sure you've heard of those shows before.
A Lap of Luxury.
Yeah, like that. Exactly. And then the third one was to do with like, it was like military stuff, or just like something like along those lines. But the second one was very funny. Just an overabundance of sexual innuendos.
Right.
The dating show. I mean, it was really, really, really well done. And but so you hadn't seen any of those. What about Jury Duty? The one that became a hit the last couple of years on Amazon Prime.
Yep, I've seen it.
You did see that. So that had you seen that before you went and filmed Joe Schmo?
So Joe Schmo was done filming before Jury Duty was out.
That's right. Okay. Yep. Okay. So you have, but you obviously went and watched it. What did you think of Jury Duty?
Yeah, I thought it was good. An original idea. It was really funny. I liked the characters. I liked, like I imagine people with the Joe Schmo Show, they just like seeing the reactions of Matt.
Yeah.
And, and Ron. Sorry, it's Ron.
Yeah, Ron. Matt was season 1 of Joe Schmo.
Right.
Yeah. So when you watched, by the way, have you ever contacted did you ever contact Matt, reach out to him, or Ronald?
No, I don't think so. No,
You
I
should.
would like to talk to some of the other Joe Schmoes. That'd be cool.
Yeah, no, I think you should. I mean, I think they would. I'm sure that they would answer you and just be like, "Yeah, we all went through this. We
Yeah.
all went through this thing." So post filming, everything happens, and we're going to get to the the ending and the reveal and all that. But just I want to again pick your brain about post filming. Actually, let's go to the finale. Once you find out,
Okay.
it's all about you, and you get the $200,000 prize.
Right.
And you found out everybody else is an actor. Was there any part of you that was upset or mad at all, or felt betrayed?
No, not in the moment, like right when it happened. No.
Okay.
Later that night, like when I'm alone and all the thoughts and then all the different situations that happened run through your mind, you're like, then you start to feel a little weird, and then quickly I brushed it off.
Was it ever a point of like, man, even though we just did, we kind of hugged it out with everybody introduced themselves to me, we hugged it out. Was there a party that felt like maybe they are still acting and I'm never gonna hear from these people anymore? It's like, hey, we just completed a job, on to the next thing. And then you were just like, well, man, I thought we did develop some sort of friendship. Was it anything of that? Like you were worried that maybe these people really didn't care to keep in touch with you once filming was over?
No, I had the feeling that everybody was, interested in keeping in touch, and as long as I was interested in keeping those channels open, everybody would be, friendly and cordial. And we stay, messaging on Instagram and tagging each other, and it's not like we're working out together every day or anything, like, you know what I mean? But we're all friends.
And I think you're on the opposite ends of the United States, right? I think most of those people live in LA, and you're in Pennsylvania, or where are you? Oh, Baltimore.
Right outside of Baltimore. Yeah.
Yeah, you're outside of Baltimore. Okay. So yeah, I mean, it's just I think I did see on your Instagram feed that one of the people was in town, right? And
Yeah,
you hung out with?
Corey Podell came to town recently for a music festival in Baltimore. I mean, sorry, a movie festival in Baltimore.
And Corey was
the fake producer.
Fake producer, right, with the tank top.
Yeah, she always was directing me down at the Goat every morning.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then have you seen Natasha or Maya since filming ended or no?
Yeah, we did. We ran into each other once in Baltimore after filming ended. And once again, we went out, we drank, we had some beers, and everything was good.
The other thing I wanted to ask you was the Mr. Danish character was pretty funny to me, but
yeah,
again, in the moment, and look, I know you didn't know until the very end when you were told, but in the moment when you're sitting there having this conversation with some guy named Mr. Danish who isn't talking and is speaking through somebody else, again, are you just like, what is happening here? Why isn't this person talking to me?
Yeah.
Or why do I have to talk through somebody else? It's just, what was your thought process of Mr. Danish when you met him?
Right. So, this game, to me, when they described it to me, it had this mystery around it. Like I knew what it was, but I didn't know what it was. And Mr. Danish, he was the maker of the game, and like they said, raised on an island by goats, and he honestly did. He had this very powerful presence. Like you really felt like he was somebody huge when he came around. I was convinced.
Yeah, and he's wearing his sunglasses. He seems like a cool cat.
Yeah. Bruce Bake. We stay in touch on Instagram. He's a good guy.
Yeah, no, it was really, again, I thought they did it. I thought they did a really good job. It took me a few episodes because I was so into the earlier seasons. I will admit, it did take me a few episodes to get caught up and to get with the other characters that they had cast. I guess the one disappointment I had was, why wasn't Lipnicki part of the reveal at the end? Do we know?
I don't know, to be honest. I don't know that.
Yeah, why didn't he? Why wasn't he there? Everybody else showed up.
Yeah, and Barbara. Barbara wasn't either.
Oh, that's right. Barbara wasn't either. Yeah, I didn't know if you knew.
Poor Barbara, man. She, she was in there and out of there.
Yeah, she got dragged out,
Yeah.
yelling and screaming, and then they never brought her back. Maybe she had another gig rolling or something like that. But you know, it's funny, you know, because I'm watching it, and at the end, you know, it's all fun and games for 9 episodes. Then you get to the 10th episode, and like you said, the audience is basically just waiting to see the reaction. Is he going to be mad? Is he going to be upset? Is he going to be pissed off in any way? How is he going to take it? And finding out.
Right.
And it was your reaction was very genuine. Like all season, you're a very likable guy. Everyone, I think, was cheering for you. At the end, when the reveal happened, your reaction was kind of what I expected. I fully expected you to give the money to Maya. Just the way you came across on television, the way you carried yourself. I knew you weren't going to take the money for yourself. So that was great to see. And then to give the money, to Maya, like I said, I thought it would happen. And then it was nice to see, obviously, that you got the $200,000 prize. What have you done with the money since? You invest?
Oh yeah, you know, a little bit investing, some savings. I put a payment towards the principal of my mortgage for this little condo I own.
Nice.
I've done a lot. I mean, I got a cat, so that's been a little bit of money. But motorcycle I bought and wrecked.
Oh, geez, you wrecked it.
Yeah, I almost didn't make it to the premiere of the show. It's crazy. But cashed the motorcycle in. Now I got an old truck, so that'll keep me safer.
I was going to say, now that you mentioned that, I think I did see on your Instagram, trying to think in my head, you in a hospital, right? I'm assuming that was from a motorcycle wreck, or was that something different?
That was something different. Yeah.
Oh, it was. It hurt again for something else. Okay.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh. What was what was the motorcycle wreck? What did it end up happening?
So I was driving down the road on the way to work in the morning, and a deer just came out in the middle of the road, and I hit the deer and wrecked. I was going about 40 to 50 miles an hour.
Did you get thrown from the?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
That was brutal.
Elbows were everywhere.
Oh my gosh. When do you keep in touch with Kat at all? And is she on text chain?
Yeah, we have sent a couple of DMs back and forth. You know, she's high profile though.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not joking in a real way, but you know, yeah. So we've messaged a couple of times, and she was always really nice and down to earth. Is
the cast in and of itself, if you guys planned any sort of, hey, I know you're on the East Coast and they're on the West Coast, but has there ever been any sort of let's plan a weekend together? You know, Ben, come to LA and we'll all hang out again just for a weekend or anything like that?
There's always, you know, everybody's always saying you got to come back, and I do plan on making it back to California. We were, you know, there was always talks of a premiere party or an after party or, you know, like a reunion, something like that. So I really hope to see everybody again. You know, I miss them all.
Yeah. I want to go back to the beginning real quick, because I usually ask this to everybody who comes on my podcast that was a contestant on a reality show, is how did it happen for you? Like, how did someone reach out to you? Was there something that you responded to that you saw about being on a reality show? How did they find Ben Frisone outside of Baltimore to appear on the show?
Right. So, it was on an online dating site. You know, I got swiped, as they say. And, it was just a person, you know, using the site as a way to, you know, I guess, see people. And they were like, hey, you know, I'm a casting agent. Would you be interested on being on a reality television show? And I was like, yeah, that sounds fun. And that's how I got the ball rolling, and, you know, interviews and all sorts of stuff. And finally they were like, you're the guy.
So what's funny is, on a show like this, where the prank is being done on you, they can't tell you, or maybe they were just selling you, hey, during the interview process, were they telling you this is a show called The GOAT, this is how it works, it's a game show, you can win money, or did they keep that from you?
Yeah, they kept that all from me. It was like, I mean, I knew it was basically a house-based reality competition show. That's what they gave me. That's like what I was really operating off of, house-based reality television show.
But they didn't give you any really any other details other than
No
there'd probably be a
thing.
money prize. I'm assuming they told you that there'd be a money prize.
Yeah. And it's funny because I'm just not the kind of guy to ask questions. So,
Exactly why they cast you, Ben.
yeah. Some people are like, well, what did they tell you it was? And I'm like, I don't even know if I asked, to be honest. Like, I was just like, let's go, dude. Let's do this.
And knowing that now, it's like, no wonder you were the guy that they chose.
Right,
You didn't question anything.
Yeah.
That is great. I mean, it was quite a wild ride watching all this and the ups and downs and the eliminations and then getting back into the show. But just again, Ben, you're such a likable guy.
Thank you.
I think the ending when everybody watched it last night is probably thinking the same thing as me. Like, man, this was just, I mean, it was so much negativity, especially on social media and in the world right now. This is a show that when the final reveal happens, you feel really good. The amount of tears, like, I don't think, even though they are actors, I don't think any of those people were faking tears. I really do feel like it was a genuine connection that you guys had developed, you yourself as well. And it was just such a positive ending to a show. And I think that's what we all kind of need in times like this, just a show that doesn't have people sniping at each other or just social media banter back and forth and calling people names. It was such the perfect ending to this show, man. I thought it was great.
That's great. Thank you.
No, you were a trooper. You could have easily just been like, man, and I can't even imagine what it's like to be in that situation, because it was a form of the Truman Show. Since then, have there ever been any times, or maybe, obviously we're far removed from filming happening, but when you went back home, was there ever a point of you that was like, even though it seems crazy, like, am I being watched right now? Someone following me? Am I being watched? Did that ever cross your mind? Like,
no,
never anything like that, huh?
No, I'd say I dealt with it very well. I think, I know it was a show and I was just, God, some weird odds that I was the guy that landed this. Yeah.
Well, yeah. But I think I did see again on your Instagram. Did you get a goat tattoo?
Yeah, I did.
You did on your leg, or isn't it on your thigh?
And it's got a gold chain with the 200,000 on it.
Well, there you go. That is how long did that tattoo take to get?
I think it was like 3 hours, about 3 hours. It's American traditional.
Now, obviously the person who did the goat tattoo, when did you do this?
Yeah, so I did it not long after the show was finished. Shout out Transmission Tattoo in Baltimore. Yeah. Andy gave me the tattoo, and he was just, I just told him, I was like, Andy, I want to do this thing. It's the GOAT, like, like the best of all time. And I thought it'd be cool if he was wearing a gold chain. And Andy didn't ask any questions either. He was just like, okay, we'll do it.
That's what I was going to say, is just like, obviously you couldn't tell the tattoo artist, this is why I'm getting it. So you just had to make up a story, because he's probably like, I mean, obviously tattoos can be anything. He's probably like, this is kind of random, but whatever, I'll do it. This is what you requested.
Yeah.
But since the show has aired and is on TV, have you gone back to that guy and told him, hey, by the way, this is why I got this goat tattoo?
Yeah, I haven't, but that'll be a good idea. I should head down there.
Yeah, you need to, at least, now that the show is over, because now, he, maybe don't want to give it away. Maybe he's watching, but I'm wondering if he's watching and thinking back to, oh, wait a second, this is that guy I gave the goat tattoo to. No wonder,
I'll post the tattoo and the show's all over.
Yeah, I thought I did. Is something? How did I see that? How did I know that? Did you post something on Instagram?
I have no idea how. Honestly, I was just about to like start looking through my Instagram, like, where did he? I know right now.
Yeah, because I was like, there's no way I would have known that, Ben. We've never spoken before now, but I feel like I saw it on like one of your videos as I'm scrolling now. No, I don't.
So I took down some pictures of me that were just like where I was in really good shape. Just because I was like, oh man, these probably shouldn't be out there. It may have been in one of them.
Okay, maybe that's what it was. And
If you started following me early.
yeah, maybe that's what it was. But anyway, I mean, this was, like I said, it was a hell of a finale last night. I hope a lot of people watched it. If they don't, you can go, I'm sure, on tbs.com, download it, watch this season of The GOAT. And even though it does, it's almost like we all know what's happening at the end, just like a movie like Titanic. It doesn't take away from the first 9 episodes and everything you went through, because I don't think anybody can have the emotional reaction to the finale if you did not invest the time into the first 9 episodes, or 10 episodes. It just, you had to see how you got there with each and every character for you to feel the way I felt at the end of the show, where I was like, wow, that was a really, really cool ending. So
and the bond between me and Maya had to be like formed,
Yeah.
Everything that she saved me from elimination and all the things that she did for me, I was like, this is the right thing to do.
Just one last thing with Maya. Was there really anything, like, what made the connection with Maya out of anybody else in the house? Like, I'm totally forgetting the characters' names right now. I mean, I have it pulled up here, but let me just, what's his face's name? Braxton. I was going to call him Dax. But Braxton, you kind of bonded with him in the beginning. You guys were boys or whatever, but what was it with Maya that made you gravitate towards her?
Yeah. So, you got to remember, all the characters, they have their own like plots and storylines. And she was supposed to be like my confidant.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And she did a really good job of like making me feel like, I could trust her and that we were the allyship in this game. And you know what I mean? Like,
that's true.
Plus,
obviously the point.
Yeah.
But really, you still had to, you had to be receptive to her. Yeah, that too. I mean, but you had to be receptive to her, because she could have put on her act of, I got to become this guy's ally. And you could have just been like, oh, I see her as a threat. I want to get her out of this game. I mean, there is a possibility that could have been the case, but
if you're from the 410, we don't play games.
Yeah, there you go.
If you're from Maryland, we roll together.
Now, you mentioned that, the comments you made about Maya. Was there anything that you thought could romantically happen with Maya, either during or post show? You've seen showmances on TV all the time.
Right. Yeah, there's reality showmances all the time. I mean, I may have been hopeful, but I don't think anything was going to happen.
Okay.
Nothing did happen, so.
All right. I know people are interested in it. I know that for a fact. People are just like, I wonder if there was something there. Or
that is the number one asked question, actually.
Is the Maya stuff?
How are you and Maya? Yeah, I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's great. But anyway, Ben, thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it. The Joe Show finale aired last night on TBS. Everyone, you have the ability to go check it out as well. Again, Ben, one of the best endings to the show. These reveal shows, these Joe Schmo reveals are very, very heartwarming. All of them have been great. And to see you handle it as well as you did, congratulations on winning the $200,000, and congratulations on being the GOAT.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on the podcast.
You got it, man. Thanks.
Have a good one.